Hello, everyone. Welcome to TOI Digital, your guide to all that's happening in the world of Indian cricket. Beyond the Boundaries, the name of the show. And today we've got K. Shriniwas Rao to help us decode what happened yesterday in the IPL. It's not related to the game, it's related to the sale of two teams in the IPL. Srini, it has been building up for a while. Everybody's been talking about it. It's almost been like there's been some breathless coverage from some people who are tracking this whole thing. How do you sum up the day yesterday when two teams were sold in the IPL?
Well, for different reasons, both had concluded in the prior to the 2025. I mean, immediately after the 2025 season, for different reasons, both had concluded. Both franchises had concluded that they want to sell. RR for a totally different reason. RR had some investors in the West, in the US, Redbird Capital. They're most important and the investor who will walk away with a fortune in the process of this sale. They had come in at a seriously low value, and they will walk away with a lottery. So they had a clause in their existing contract with RR, which said that if there is a good value available for the franchise, then RR together will look to sell, not just them. That clause was part of the existing agreement, and that's why RR began to look at the process very positively and decided to invite bids. This must have started around 5 months back. Um, were they very keen to sell? Let's understand something from the perspective of Manoj Badale, who's the owner of RR. He is obviously, as people would know, he's a first generation entrepreneur in UK. He is from Maharashtra, in a district very very close to in central Maharashtra, Dhule. He's from there. Um, he is a successful entrepreneur. Now, what helped him make his money is that his biggest selling point, why he's successful as an entrepreneur, is that his biggest selling point is knowing when to get out of a business, when to exit a business. He's exited his businesses at the right time and made a decent profit. So the RR narrative that is there right now for everyone to see is an example of Manoj's ability to think on his feet, where he knew that this is the right time to make money and exit. And I will tell you why. He has a science behind what he did. The IPL media rights are going to come up for sale early next year. That you can expect the tender to come out maybe in December, between December and March, December 2026 and March 2027. I've even tweeted about this. In fact, today morning I put out a very short thread on it, on X, where I explained why the media rights value will not rise too high. There are specific reasons for it. There are no bidders in the market. Reliance is the only bidder, and tomorrow it actually, of course, see this as a joke, but this is how it is. Like, depends on which side of the bed Reliance wakes up. Tomorrow they can wake up from the left side of the bed, said मेरा क्रिकेट से मन हट गया. तो क्रिकेट क्या करने वाला है? What is cricket's plan B? You're so heavily leveraged against the media rights value. Your entire business model rests on media rights, and there's only one player. At least until the previous right cycle, there was Disney and Geo, right?
Hmm.
So today, from a digital business, who's going to put that kind of money in the India market? People think Amazon can. Okay, at this value, Amazon cannot. People don't like. You have to look at Amazon Prime's subscription market in India. It is struggling. They have lost the pricing strategy. They have to reevaluate their business in India market. So the only two potential competitors who can possibly and futuristically look in the India market is, one is YouTube,
Hmm.
and two is Netflix. Netflix, because subscription wise they have really upped their game. They have kind of come back with a, and look at the way they are kind of experimenting with content. Like, they are cash rich right now, so that allows them to play this game. The second is YouTube. YouTube I myself have said this couple of years ago. I said, why will YouTube, when a YouTube video can, kind of make a million views out of a cat running after a mouse, why will you invest money in the rights market? But YouTube TV has a different proposition, and cricket, for an ad-based platform like YouTube, cricket is a perfect business. But for all of this to happen, BCCI has to go and talk to these people, right? They have to start exploring business opportunities. That has not happened, and the time is too short now. So overall, if you see, I don't see many players. That rights value is not going to go up. By the way, let Chandresh, here is an important aspect which nobody is actually paying attention to. People think that the value of media rights, IPL media rights, is 48,390 crore. That's incorrect. That is not the number. That number is based on the guarantee that IPL would have hosted 74 matches in the first two seasons, 84 in the third and fourth season, 94 in the fifth season. That's not happening. IPL is hosting only 74 matches across all 5 years, which means 370 matches, not 410, which means that 48,390 crores comes to 43,660 crore. There's a reduction. So, as some media houses say that the IPL value is going to remain flat, God forbid it can be less than 45,000 CR. If it remains flat, it is that bad. As far as Sony being in the race is concerned for TV, the existing media rights value around linear is very poor. Broadcasters are bleeding money. So again, that's a no go. So Manoj foresaw this. If he could see this, and 6 months, 6 to 8 months ago, he took that call. That if I get a good value, why not? I don't mind going away from here. And look at the price that he has managed. Between the price that RCB is getting and with the price that RR is getting, RCB, the buyers have got RCB for a steal, whereas the sellers have paid more for RR. 1.63 billion is a great pricing for a property that was bought at $67 million in 2008, when the price of the dollar was 40 rupees, which is, they bought the franchise for 268 CR,
Hmm.
268 crore in 2008. That money was paid over a period of 10 years, which means 26 crore 80 lakh per year,
Yeah.
right? Over a period of 10 years, debt free, interest free. And today they are coolly walking away with literally 15,000 crore, 15,500 crore. If
There,
that is
there was
not a
some
jack,
there was some math that Shane Warne's family will also make some 450,
I
460
am not.
crores.
See, Shane was given that equity. There is this, because that old video existed somewhere. Shane was given that equity because Shane wasn't paid during that time.
As the icon
Shane,
player.
yeah. So Shane had a lot of other roles to play, other than being just the RR captain and this thing. He sat on the RR board. He was a mentor for RR. He would remain associated with RR even after his playing days, etc., etc. He was their brand ambassador. He had become emerging media's global brand ambassador. All of that, he wasn't paid. He was given sweat equity in the franchise,
Hmm.
right? And I don't know how, whether that equity was diluted over a period of time or it remained intact. I have not tracked that bit. So I'm like not the right person to say right now how much his family can cash on that percentage. But having said that, RR has walked away with literally a bomb. I mean, a lottery here. I mean, and kudos to Manoj Badale, for once again kind of, making an awesome deal here. I mean, and exiting just at the right time. Although
Okay,
Manoj
here's
will linger around for a while, he will not completely disappear from the franchise. Manoj will linger around for the while. And by the way, I am, actually good. Let me show you something. This is a book, A New Innings. Chandesh, have you read this book,
no,
A
I
New
haven't.
Innings?
No, who's written
Okay, so
this?
this book came out 10 years ago. Not 10 years ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago. This is a book that was written, actually. Wait, I think my
Your camera is not working properly.
1 second, 1 second. Yeah, A New Innings.
Okay.
S-
Oh,
this
Simon
book
Hughes
was
has
written
written.
by Manoj Badale and Simon Hughes.
Yeah, they're very close
Okay,
to each
the
other.
only IPL owner to have written a book. It's a very good book. I'll send one to you. I have two, three copies of these.
Yeah,
I'll
please,
send
please,
one to
please.
you.
Yeah.
And Manoj wrote this book almost 7, 8 years ago. You know why he wrote the book? He didn't want to know. He didn't want to um uh maybe he didn't want to earn money out of this or any traction. He wrote this book so that people can genuinely understand how team owners in IPL think and operate. You know, I remember Simon Hughes. Well, obviously we all know who he is, one of the
Mm,
kind of senior English journalists. He had come, he had met me. We spent some time together. He was trying to understand things from an India market perspective, etc.
mm,
But I really appreciate Manoj's effort here. His sole intention of bringing that book was for readers and fans to understand how does the media right space, or how does a franchise model function, what happens in an auction, how does a team prepare for an auction. A very, very well written book. I'll send you a copy.
mm,
So again, kudos to Manoj. He's made a killing at the right time and exited, I think, full marks to him.
mm.
Coming
Uh,
to, I think, the second part was RCB. Yeah.
yeah, before we move to RCB, there are a couple of questions. I just wanted to close this out before we move to the RCB. Adarsh has a question. Does the RR deal also include the other Royals franchises or only IPL franchise?
No, as of now, I think this is only the RR business in India. Even I have been trying to kind of understand how does it involve the Caribbean investment and the Royals, but I don't
Pal
think this
Royals.
involves. Yeah, I don't think it involves any of those businesses yet. I'm still, although do not take my word for this. On this front, I'll have to do my homework and come back. But thanks, Adarsh. I will come back to you. Please be on the
Okay.
show at 24 hours. I'll come back to you with an answer on this question.
Okay. Unknown nobody says IPL growth is coming to first point of saturation. Either new revenues have to start exploring or improve in quality. Do you agree with that?
Like not 50%, not 70%, not 90%. 110% I agree with what this guy is saying. IPL growth is coming to a first point of saturation. And I will just add to the line that he has said, that there is a slump waiting to happen in IPL, which is not a wrong thing. Which is every business will go through some slump at some point. IPL's first slump is coming. It's around the corner. Now why? In this question that this guy is asking, the answer is also in there: new revenues. So in line with that, I'll just point out that the right now the IPL's business proposition is leveraged a little too much, hinging on the media rights revenue. Okay, what is your plan B? Somebody asked me a question today about overlapping of matches in IPL and comparing it to the English Premier League, etc., etc. And it got me thinking. These leagues have evolved over a period of time, over decades. Okay, so today every club ecosystem has its own revenue model, which doesn't necessarily depend on what the media and what the broadcasters are paying. Same is with some of the more evolved leagues in America, where in NBA, NFL, even MLB for that matter, there is a very city specific revenue model in place. The IPL has nothing as such. Barring top three franchises, which is Mumbai Indians, Chennai Super Kings, and Royal Challengers Bangalore. But again, in the case of Royal Challengers Bangalore and Chennai Super Kings, thanks to some of the superstars in their this thing, like an MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli, they have kept these numbers going, and thankfully they have built a very good ecosystem for themselves in their, from a local revenue standpoint, from whatever brand engagement they do, merchandising, something or the other, they have managed to kind of at least push the right buttons. MI, of course, but MI is blessed to have a city like Mumbai, which is the financial capital of the country. So these things are. But what about the other 8, 7 franchises? Whether it's Rajasthan Royals. Rajasthan Royals has also been unlucky. I mean, I'll come to that later, but they've also been unlucky in many ways. But look at Punjab, look at Delhi, um, look at any of these franchises. They've not really contributed in any way over a period of time. What have you done? What is the groundwork that you've done? Every year you get a certain amount of money from the broadcast revenues. You just pick that money and that is your income. What is happening? Have you invested in any sort of an academy and any sort of a future proposition? Have you built any grassroots system in place? Year after year, you come, doesn't matter to you, it doesn't pinch you where you stand in the points table, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, tenth. You just pick your money, go back. Tomorrow, what if BCCI were to put a clause? I'm just thinking aloud. What if BCCI were to say, listen, we will pay the semi-finalists, a big chunk of the media rights revenue, and then according to how you rank in the table, you will be forced to then concentrate on your cricket, right? You'll be forced to then play to win, because then it will start affecting your bottom line. I think, what this person says. Either newer revenues have to start. They have to start exploring. They have to start exploring ways in order to kind of make their own ecosystems. Strengthen their own ecosystems in terms of the property that they want to be. What is your vision? What is the big picture that you want to achieve? I don't think anybody has started thinking on these lines. And there, I'm going to say something which a lot of people will not like. I don't know how to say all these things on Twitter, because fan clubs and trolls, etc. They don't understand us. I'm saying that a lot of existing IPL owners have to move out. If this business has to move to the next level, you have to allow new, fresh, and entrepreneurial minds to kind of come into the business. Vanity has its own limits and has its own purpose. You cannot allow vanity to run business. What is happening in IPL is still, to a large extent, vanity is being allowed to kind of have a say. And I think that it'll have to start changing from there if you have to start exploring and finding new ways forward.
Okay, there are multiple questions before we move to RCB, and that's something that everybody wants to know. But will it include the academy? I suppose they take everything with them, no? The RR Academy, Zubin Barucha, Riyan Parag, they take everything with them.
They have in Talegaon.
Ah, yeah, the one in Talegaon. Yeah, people want to know about that. I want to know about Zubin Barucha. So and Riyan Parag.
Zubin has taken a break from RR. He's on a
Oh,
break. Yeah,
okay, okay,
it's for
fine,
personal reasons. Right
okay,
now he's taken a break. So,
okay. And
but yeah, that
like Reed
academy in
Savla wants to
Talegaon.
know. Reed Savla wants to know, will Riyan Parag? People are more bothered about that. Will he be captain because they want Jaiswal to be captain?
नहीं, but
And
मैं actually honestly मैं रियान को personally जानता नहीं हूँ, so it's not like I have something against Riyan or whatever, like, but it's a little weird na, that how can you appoint Riyan Parag captain ahead of Yashasvi Jaiswal, यार? I mean, Yashasvi all
also,
format player है, इंडिया का deserving लड़का है, क्या मतलब, I don't know,
also, also,
honestly I don't know.
also, I think that the first season worked for me because everybody played. Do you think that Manchester United will not play in Old Trafford, and they say that we'll play uh, in
I've said
Southampton?
this. I have
Uh,
said this. I have said this many times that IPL's biggest problem is there is no ease of doing business in IPL. Franchise owners are going through, they go through horror. So let's take example of every venue in this country. Let me start with Mumbai Indians. Okay, now tell me, Mumbai Indians is owned by India's biggest private company, right? Reliance Industries. Tell me, if Reliance Industries wants to make the Wankhede Stadium a better infrastructure for the visiting public, how long does it take for them?
Not too
It'll
long.
just take them one less than 3 months, 4 months to kind of refurbish the entire stadium. For example, a stadium like Reliance doesn't even have a stadium like Wankhede doesn't even have decent lifts for physically
Old people
challenged
and
old
old
people,
people.
physically challenged people. Okay?
Hmm.
So, and South Bombay is full of people with a certain vintage, of certain age criteria, etc. They can't even come to
People
the
avoid
stadium to
going.
watch it. Yeah.
People of a
So
certain age
around
avoid
10 years
going to the
ago,
stadium.
around 10 years ago, what did Reliance do? Reliance tried to build a lift outside, immediately in the Wankhede premises, in the MCA premises. They were stopped by the Bombay Municipal Corporation from doing this. Why? Because the stadium is not a private property. It's on lease. Sarkar ka property. They stopped them from doing it. So this has to, in the longer run, private sports league cannot survive without good infrastructure. If you are learning your lessons from today, if you are trying to run a good sports league, you are picking these models which are based on whatever is happening in America, right? So in America, a good league is based on the concept of good infrastructure. You think Wembley is mad to kind of have refurbished the entire stadium in London and build the kind of money, this thing, the infrastructure that they did? You think Emirates has lost it to kind of fund Arsenal's real estate? This thing. You think Emirates or Manchester City, the sheikhs of Abu Dhabi, don't know what they are doing? You look at the state infrastructure in Germany. You look at infrastructure across Europe. Your sporting infrastructure is as good as your league itself, and IPL has to learn that lesson. So I'm starting only with MI, and where I'm saying the most powerful and the richest franchise is not able to do something. You go to Chennai, you will remember that under N. Srinivasan's regime, the Tamil Nadu Cricket Association had run into problems with the local government with regards to those two stands that were constructed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the government had stopped work there. And for how many years that stadium, actually, those two stands used to be an eyesore. Work was never allowed to go on. And you and me have gone to Chidambaram from so many, kind of, for so many years. We know how work used to get stalled every now and then because of some or the other Chennai Municipal Corporation drawback. I mean, for years and years and years it has been a pain point. You look at Savai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur. It's on the
Oh,
verge of
yeah.
crumbling. Do you know that Rajasthan Royals as a franchise, they got an external valuation done. They got the Tatas to assess the stadium infrastructure. Tatas have given a written note to the franchise which says that you need to kind of refurbish this infrastructure. It is not safe.
Hmm.
But try telling that to a bureaucrat in Rajasthan, try telling that to a babu in Rajasthan. Nahi, sab theek hai. We are all good. Everything is fine. And now the problem is the franchise beyond a point can't go and say anything, because if you take on the city babus and the city bureaucrats, tomorrow if you are not allowed to shift outside the state, you are at their mercy. How will you do your business? And you look at Royal Challengers Bangalore. I literally feel sad for the way RCB had to suffer. Yes, that my heart goes out to the people who suffered in the aftermath of that stampede. Okay, and I raised a very simple question on Twitter. I said, if this was not central Bangalore and if this was central London, would Diageo be okay with it?
No.
There, and that day I got my answer that Diageo doesn't have a choice but to sell the franchise. They have to sell, because what happened, the lives of people being lost. Like it was an incident that cannot be forgotten, and it was disaster written all over it. Right. Having said that, you see what happened after that. Number one, you hosted an event without police permission, so you were caught on the wrong foot. But to make amends for what happened, you look at the all the headaches that RCB had to do to find their way back to Bangalore to host these matches once again at home. They were stuck in a political muddle. They were stuck between the so-called Congress BJP battle. They were stuck in all sorts of nonsense. They went through a proper headache. Thankfully, a new body got elected in the Karnataka State Cricket Association with Venkatesh Prasad. Cricketers Anil Kumble, Rahul Dravid, Javagal Srinath, the old lobby, all of them got involved. That is how they managed to, the cricket became a priority again. I know for a fact that Venkatesh Prasad personally has gone, held meetings with the Chief Minister's office in Karnataka, kind of got things resolved for RCB to a large extent. And that's why thankfully those matches are back in Bangalore. But the trauma that those guys had to go through, yes, they had to suffer for being caught on the wrong foot for whatever happened. But outside of that, the trauma to kind of make business come back on track again was a real exercise. So all said, it's not been an easy. Same for Mohali. We all know the suffering that Punjab Cricket Association has inflicted over a period of time. Thankfully, now there is a new stadium, but otherwise, the same problem even there.
Uh, Now we'll move to the RCB topic, but the first thing that everybody wants to know, KSR sir, new owners RCB का name change करेंगे या सेम
क्यों
रखेंगे?
करना चाहिए? मतलब आप मेरे को बताओ, अगर मैंने विंडोज माइक्रोसॉफ्ट कल बिल गेट से खरीद लिया, तो मैंने जस्ट बिकॉज मैंने खरीद लिया तो क्या मैं माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का नाम चेंज कर दूंगा? माइक्रोसॉफ्ट इज अ ब्रांड, द नेम इज अ ब्रांड, व्हाई शुड आई चेंज द नेम? I mean, tomorrow new owners can do anything. I mean, it's their money; they have paid the money. So if they want, if they think, you know, Royal Challengers Bangalore is not the right name because it has an alcohol brand in it. We never know. Maybe, I mean, a traditional Marwari businessmen in India, they will not like an alcohol brand's name. So who knows? Maybe it can change. Maybe it won't change. I have no idea. It's too early to say, and I'm not sitting in the owner's sofa.
Okay, Pawan Bharadwaj has a question. We are rejoicing that our IPL team has been sold for high price, but will IPL remain as popular even after Rocco and Dhoni's departure? Will the value remain the same? Will the price remain the same?
Listen, Pawan, I have been covering cricket for whatever 20 plus years. I have covered IPL since inception. Okay, so 2008 the IPL came. Today I have covered enough IPL to say what I'm going to say now. Okay, um, in covering 18 years of IPL, what can I say about the tournament? If I had to sum it up in a paragraph, the tournament is not a product. The tournament is rather a product in continuous transition, right? We are not looking at a settled product. We are looking at a product which is constantly evolving, changing. आप मेरे को बताओ, कभी 8 टीम होते हैं, कभी 10 टीम होते हैं, broadcast media rights we're talking about, where nothing is static, everything is changing. Every team has a separate problem of its own. Bureaucracy plays a major role in how associations get along with franchise owners, etc. There is a lot of debate on whether the trading window should be a more boisterous one. What should whether auctions should continue in the same form, not how, etc., etc. I'm saying that if somebody asks me, KSR, what do you make of all this? I'll say my job as somebody who has seen IPL grow from 2008 to now has been that of documenting a transition of a product that has continuously been changing. So, why I'm saying this is to answer that question of yours. Will it remain as popular? Why not? Of course, it can become doubly popular. uh, I'm saying this is not a product that you need to see in any finished form as of now. It is going to shift, and show you different avatars every 5 7 years until it becomes a totally different animal and a beast altogether. All I can say is that those who have grown up to like cricket in the most traditional manner possible, like, I can tell you for myself, I can say the same thing for Chandresh, that, like, we've grown up on a very heavy diet of 90s ka cricket, and obviously, like, have an understanding of what happened prior to the 90s, what kind of, what were the catalysts that brought about the change in the game. We grew up on a very heavy diet of cricket in the 90s and around turn of the century, for a very different cricket, very different sport altogether. All I can tell you with absolute confidence is, whichever way, when the IPL settles at some point, it will not be cricket the way we have known it to be. It will go on to become a very different sport altogether. It's like, how do I put it? Inside a coliseum, people meant to entertain, subtleties of the game, which probably some generations have grown up enjoying, will not remain the selling point anymore. Having said that, I was having this very interesting conversation with Shailendra Singh of Percept. I did a podcast with him. He told me one very interesting thing. He's like, yes, sir, the average span of a superstar is just shrinking. You look at the Kapil Devs and the Sunil Gavaskars for 25 years. The last of the Mohicans was around, let's say, Sachin Tendulkar, whose international career spanned such a long time. Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, etc., all came in mid 90s, early 90s, mid 90s, and stayed back until 2010, 2012, 2013. So, again, 16, 17, 18, 20-year careers. Come to Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, uh, and even MS Dhoni. Perhaps the last of the superstars who have enjoyed a 15 odd year career, much of which was, under the this thing of superstardom. They enjoyed stardom for such a long time. As we move further, the average span of stardom is going to start shrinking. It's like, imagine करो आप, ये मेरा फोन है, मैं इंस्टाग्राम पे जाता हूँ, और मैं इसको स्क्रॉल करना शुरू करता हूँ, राइट? आई कीप स्क्रॉलिंग. डू आई रिमेंबर what I saw 5 minutes back? I forget, right? I just move on. Very rarely will I remember, and I very much I like the reel, I'll save it. But 90 times out of 100, I'll just keep scrolling, and what I saw 5 minutes ago is lost in memory, is gone. That is how we are evolving as human beings. We are evolving in that manner that our attention span is moving. मैं आपको आज ट्विटर पे मैं डालूंगा आईपीएल मीडिया राइट्स में सेल एट whatever 60,000 CR. I'm just thinking aloud. Tomorrow day after you will come to me and say KSR कुछ नया बताओ यार, वो 60,000 वो तो पुराना न्यूज है, वो आपने परसों बताया था. Today tell us something new, right? Because your ability to soak in and absorb content, your hunger, your appetite has grown so much that in return has shrunk the idea of stardom as we knew it, where today you have a Shubman Gill or a Yashasvi or someone where like ये बड़ा प्लेयर है, 3 साल बाद यार कोई नया नहीं आ रहा है क्या? और वो सूर्यवंशी का क्या हुआ? इज ही नॉट देयर? अच्छा सूर्यवंशी, अच्छा ही इज प्लेइंग फॉर इंडिया, अच्छा अगला कौन आ रहा है? योर ability to your hunger to know the next big thing happening is actually playing a larger role somewhere else. So will the property be the same ever? I don't know. I honestly don't know what is going to happen, but this what I'm trying to explain to you is the phenomenon. We may probably end up at a stage where we will find a new superstar every season, live with it and move on to another chapter. A reality TV kind of Big Boss kind of an era is what we are going for, perhaps.
Okay. We've got super chats as well. I want to quickly take them before we talk about RCB. Palas Swami has a question. What happened to Lalit Modi? KSR, please answer.
Yeah,
40 रुपए का
Lalit.
सवाल है तो 40 रुपए वाला जवाब देना बस.
ललित का प्रॉब्लम ही है, वो अननेसेसरी बढ़ जाता है. वो आज वो कल ही ट्वीटेड एंड ही टैग्ड मी सेइंग 1.78 बिलियन इज नॉट द प्राइस. मैंने कहा भाई प्रेस रिलीज में लिखा है यार, तू फिर मेरे पल्ले पड़ गया. प्रेस रिलीज में लिखा है 178 बिलियन, 1.78 बिलियन. अच्छा दूसरा आई सेड 100% सेल ऑफ आर आर, तो बोलता 100% सेल नहीं है. मैंने कहा ठीक है फिर तू ही बता दे कितना परसेंट सेल है. पुटिंग द बॉल इन योर कोर्ट. तेरे से ज्यादा किसको समझ में आएगा? बट ललित बीइंग ललित जवाब नहीं दिया, मैं रुका हूँ उसके जवाब में.
Okay. One more question. Your assessment is wrong. Walmart, Blackstone, all are professional US firms. They know how to make money. So Manoj is very clever. That's not the case. तो मैं समझा नहीं. He's saying Manoj is clever, but your assessment is wrong. You said
Manoj
Manoj is
is very
clever.
clear that hmm, I don't know what your assessment is wrong. Okay, that I find. Walmart is single L, Blackstone is one word, are all professional US firms. They know how to make money, which is fine. So Manoj is very clever. He is, but that's not the case. We'll
He's
revisit
agreeing
the
with you,
question
yet
later.
not agreeing with you.
Prasanjit, just rephrase your question and come back.
Yeah. And one more super chat from Chirag Patel. Manoj is completely out of RR. Owner shift share. I didn't
Is that a
understand that.
question or a story? आप
I think
पूछ
it's
रहे हो
just
या
a
बता रहे
statement.
हो?
Yeah, I
Manoj is
think it's just
completely out of RR ownership share. I mean, I will be more than happy to hear if you and if I have to share my opinion. Manoj will be in the management team. He will guide them. He will stay back to help the franchise transition, help the new ownership transition.
okay. Okay, now let's move to the RCB sale. Now, this is very interesting. The man who's going to be the chairperson of the RCB, the new RCB as it is from next year, is a man who was part of Rajasthan Royals in the past. He was a teammate of Rajat Patidar and Venkatesh Iyer, and now he's going to be their boss.
Boss and a teammate also. His love for the game is intact.
Yeah.
So, just not the boss, he's also going to be, I guess, as good as the 12th man of the team. He knows his cricket. So, well, good for him. Good for him that he gets to actually, sometimes I just feel that आपने खेला है तो आपको क्रिकेटर का पर्सपेक्टिव मालूम होता है. कितने टीम ओनर्स है who actually understand the cricketer's perspective or a sports person's perspective. I saw this in MLS when David Beckham stands on the sidelines and sees Messi stardom while he's on the field and the pain that he has to go through. Beckham is the first guy to understand what it really means. So, I mean, from that standpoint, yeah, I mean, I expect Aryaman to be the perfect owner in this space.
So, can you explain to us what has happened over here?
So again, RCB, as I said, after what happened last year, it became imperative for RCB to kind of keep themselves on the block, like to kind of consider a sale. Diageo, any which ways, is looking at future investments in some overseas liquor companies, and they wanted to raise cash. And Okay, let me go a little further back. Diageo took charge of RCB in 2015, right? In 2008, when the BCCI sold franchises, Bangalore franchise was bought. The second costliest team was bought by Mr. Vijay Mallya. Now, people, I don't know how they perceive Vijay Mallya. Vijay Mallya is one of the most, uh, very smart and shrewd businessmen that we've ever seen. Now, remember, his liquor business was never in problem. It is his airline business that brought him down, that pulled him down. Okay, why he went into the airline business, kya kiya usne, all of that, not my business to get into. Having said that, the alcohol business that Vijay Mallya ran, so up Chandresh, he used to wear those larger than life goggles and diamond studs in, and a glass of champagne in his hand whenever he would walk. All of that was not showbazi. That life, good life, king of good times.
King of good times.
King of good times was not showbazi. It was a very well planned business model around his image, where he wanted to be seen. He was brand Malya. He was brand Malya. When he was selling you that beer, he was actually showing you uh, uh, what brand Kingfisher stood for, etc. He had kind of painted that image around him, which was very carefully crafted. And in 2008, it was one of the shrewdest investments in IPL, because the government of India obviously never allowed advertising of alcohol alongside tobacco, right? Now, every tobacco business or every alcohol business in India has been um, a product of surrogate advertising on television or in print mediums, etc. एंड बैकपाइपर, जब मिल बैठेंगे तीन यार, सोडा ही बेच रहे हो ना आप, इवेंचुअली आप अल्कोहल तो नहीं बता सकते हो, ऐड नहीं. So when Vijay Mallya first sat with Lalit Modi to understand this space, it was his brainchild that he could use this platform as a perfect surrogate advertising platform for all his alcohol brands. Kingfisher ka topi, Royal Challengers ka shirt, whatever, white and mackay ka trouser. He thought, he saw this, and he wanted the franchise to be seen in the same image that he had crafted for himself, which was what? Larger than life. That's why you would see a Katrina Kaif standing there, a Deepika Padukone standing there, his own son, like, kind of being this, having this very carefully crafted playboy image. He wanted to be seen as RCB being this ultimate party place. Listen, I know a lot of people like to have that moral chip on the shoulder, but at the end of the day, people want to party, right? People want to have a good time in life. That is what the लोगों का ultimate ulterior motive क्या है भाई? We need to want to have a good time. He was selling that brand to those people, those who want to or yearn to have a good time in life. That was very carefully crafted image, and he built RCB on those lines. अगर वो airline नहीं डूबा होता, तो Kingfisher Airlines would have been the official carrier of RCB. He had a lot of plans. Unfortunately, none of that worked out for him. Airline business made him go bust. Now, cut to 2015. He loses the franchise as a part of the deal, where Diageo takes over United Spirits Limited. In 2015, Virat Kohli is still not the global superstar that we had known him to be. Okay, he was still emerging into one, but he had still not. He had just about. So it is that year where he took over as a Test captain in the middle of the series in Australia. Um, Malia leaves the country. Diageo takes over the entire USL business. Okay, all of that is happening. The India management of USL, which is the new Diageo management, they have no idea what to do with this property. Why? One, it's not making tons of money. It is still, the rights are with Sony. Those 10-year rights are continuing. The sports fixing scandal has hit the IPL. Two teams are about to be banned. Supreme Court is getting involved in BCCI affairs. They are putting a committee of administrators in place. All of that wasn't very, didn't make the Diageo guys very enthusiastic about keeping RCB. They wanted to sell it off. That is when they started a search to find a suitable buyer in 2015. Okay, and that search was on, etc. Things were happening at a very slow pace. Everything was taking its own sweet time. The Malia controversy was still red hot. In between, Virat Kohli, between 2015 and 2016, makes that first big transition from being another India star to being India's biggest star, right? Every senior cricketer, as you remember, has retired. Rohit is still not what he would later become. You are hungry for a new superstar, and Virat Kohli comes, takes center stage. The same year, RCB decides to appoint Virat as captain, 2015, right? They see the Virat that is transitioning, that is changing. They decide to invest in this new avatar of Virat Kohli. And look at how the pieces begin to fall in place. Malia has exited. Diageo is finally sensing the rise of a superstar which may bring in results. And eventually, Virat succeeds. The spot fixing scandal takes a break. The Supreme Court's administration of BCCI is settling things down, making the incidents calmer. And 2016, the tender gets ready for the new IPL media rights to be sold next year. And there is already a buzz in the market that, the bidding may go take the value beyond 15,000 CR, and things begin to kind of 8,000 for 10 years. Now, this is suddenly people are thinking it will be a plus 15,000 plus only for 5 years. Eventually, the rights get sold for 16,347 crore, right? Uh, for 60 matches across 5 years. That was the most profitable. Obviously, to the 10 years, Sony made tons of money. But after that, those 5 years were very profitable for Star. They walked in with a net profit of around 2,000 crore. That is when RCB realizes that they literally a gold mine has fallen on their lap. Diageo realizes कि ये क्या गिरा है हमारे गोद में. They did not realize that it is such a giving property that they have actually landed themselves. RCB starts making money through media rights model. That money distribution kind of skyrockets. Virat popularity brings them jersey sponsorships. Ticket gate money at RCB kind of rises, and everything begins to fall in place to the extent that Virat Kohli's stardom alone pushed RCB to become the second most popular franchise in IPL, despite them not winning a single trophy year after year after year after year. Mind you, they had AB de Villiers, mind you, they had Chris Gale, no less, massive, giant superstars, but nothing to compare with the stardom that Virat Kohli kind of brought, single handedly brought to the table. And it changed RCB's fortunes forever. So, yeah, I mean, from there on, it was a joyride, and it reached a stage where Diageo actually after that did not want to sell. They were having a lovely time. Had the last year's unfortunate incident not happened, they wouldn't have considered a sale at all. Not so soon.
And the new players who are going to be owning the franchise now, how did that come about? Do you have any idea?
No, can you come again? Like
So these consortium, how did that come about? And meeting of
the
minds
new
between,
owners, the new
yeah, yeah,
owners. Oh, okay.
yeah, coming
So listen,
together.
Aditya Birla Group was always interested in coming into cricket. Okay, if you remember, a year before last, they had submitted a 500 crore per year bid for IPL title rights. The deal eventually went to Tata's. Okay, Aditya Birla Group was not very happy with how that panned out. Why? Because BCCI floated the RFP, called for bids, and then they said, okay, we will give Tata's were the existing rights holders. They said we'll give Tata's the right to match. Aditya Birla Group raised the price at 500 CR. Tata's took it back because they had the right to match. I know that Aditya Birla Group couldn't do anything about it because rules were rules, but they were very pissed because they literally wanted it so desperately and they put top dollar on the paper, right? That was the day when they decided कि वो घुसेंगे इसमें. They want to get into cricket. One thing they did not want to be is they did not want to get into a rat race. They were very clear. that we will get into a property only if we get it for the right price and we don't have to haggle with 25 people. So when this sale process began, they started looking at both RR and RCB. And mind you, they were very serious for RR. Aryaman had played for RR, so there was this emotional attachment also. They wanted to look at this very positively. However, they thought, I mean, this is their view. Beyond 1.4, it just didn't make sense for them to go to Rajasthan. Because again, gate money, local infrastructure, everything, local revenues, everything put together, they didn't see value. Right then, where was this whole $2 billion thing building up? I think it was only media reports, nothing beyond that. The reality was turning out to be something totally different. And when they got to know, what the pricing was and how it would get determined, they said, okay, why not? So they were very much in the race for RCB at all times at a given price. And luckily for them, they just managed to kind of hang on. And Diageo thought this was the best investment. See, listen, let's say you are a owner of a property. Okay. Let's say you want the best price for your property. Okay. But you will also want to give it to the kind of person that you want to give it to, right? At the end of the day. So if you're selling here, let's say if you're selling an apartment for 1 crore, you have two buyers. And one buyer is offering you 1 CR, the other buyer is offering you 95 lakh. It's not necessary that you will give it to the 1 crore party. You may even give it to the 95 lakh property if you think he's going to take care of your flat the way you had envisaged. It could be anything. It could be an emotional connect. It could be anything. Or it could be like, I think the process will be smoother with this guy. Whatever it is. I don't know. It is like beauty lies in the eye of the beholder kind of a thing. Right? So from that standpoint, the seller thought that maybe Aditya Birla Group is where he wants to kind of park his money. I don't know what are the bid values of some of the other bidders. I have no idea. But great guys, all of them. Ranjan, you know, Ranjan Pai of Manipal Hospitals, etc. Very successful businessman, very successful entrepreneur. Unfortunately, things did go well. I mean, things just went in the favor of this consortium. So that's that. And they are in it at a great price. I think 1.78 is, I would call it a steal.
Uh, there are a few questions from our fans, from our subscribers. I would say fans. Uh, they're asking if we'll be, as in TOI, will TOI be biased towards RCB now?
Yeah, TOI. Listen, your fans look at this very differently. If you look at things from a very business standpoint, I think it is very, very good for a tournament like IPL that a brand like Times of India has come in. It's extremely good. A massive media brand will give a massive media push. So RCB को जो मैं push दूंगा अगर समझ लो तो RCB versus MI हो रहा है तो the entire property will get a push ना. It's not just RCB. I'm just to answer your question. Having said that, Times of India invests in a lot of businesses. We are owners. We have stakes in the properties in the 100 in UK. We have stakes in MLC Major League Cricket in America. We have a part stakes in some other sports. We are broadcasters of sport in the American markets and some European markets. We are
MENA region,
also into, huh? Yeah,
MENA
and
region.
we are
You
also
go.
into sports education at some other things. So we are heavily invested in sport. We run Crickbuzz as an enterprise that it's again part of the Times of India group. So there are some heavy duty investments that Times of India group has made in sports. Outside of that, we like in and like any other business, but that is not media. So that's like it's a total different space altogether. Where my where my newspaper is concerned, the Times of India newspaper is concerned, I have not covered cricket. The newspaper has not covered cricket since the advent of IPL. People should know that the newspaper has been around for 180 years. And today's generation might not know that this person who is interviewing me, Mr. Chandresh Narayanan, 15 years ago, was, or rather less than that maybe, was Times of India's biggest cricket correspondent and writer. I don't think, Chandresh, many people have seen that avatar of yours, or have they? I'm not very sure.
No,
Right.
they
So
haven't.
these days, and that was before the time of Twitter. So So Mr. Chandresh Narayan has been one of the well-known and very popular news correspondents of the Times of India. And prior to that, even Chandresh will underline this, that some of the greatest cricket writers, reporters have actually kind of penned things for the Times of India. The late great Mr. Pradeep Vijayakar, the doyen of cricket reporting, Mr. K.N. Prabhu, and it's a long
Sundar
list.
Rajan.
Sundar Rajan, it's a very long list. It's a very long list of seriously accomplished people who have made Times of India's cricket reporting what it is. It's stuff of the folklore. If I were to go and visit the Times of India archives alone, for what Times of India archives would have had on cricket, like for years, from the years of Nawab Patodi and Bishan Singh Bedi to Ajit Wadekar's team in the West Indies to Sunil Gavaskar's stardom to Kapil Dev's 1983 to India hosting 1987 to the advent of IPL, it would be endless. So Times of India is not just here after the IPL. We are way, way bigger than just covering RCB. So yeah, the business side of things maybe has the Times of India name attached, but our appetite for cricket goes way bigger than all of this.
Okay, the KDT all rounder says RCB could go near 2 billion as things were going, but went for 1.78. So, is it less in your view?
It's a
It's
steal, no?
difficult for you to
I,
say.
I, I know I'm saying this as a very neutral outsider. It's a steal. It's an absolute steal to kind of see RCB go at 1.78 billion. Was it going to touch 2 billion? I'm not sure. The one media report had said, see, okay. So there's a private equity player called EQT. It's a US based private equity player. Okay. Now, what usually happens with private equity players is they operate on funds. They have money parked and they have a target. They have to spend this kind of some amount of money basically in certain markets, right? So they had some 14 billion worth of funds left unspent. So like they had to kind of do some spending out in the market, and then equity cash flush. You go to any investment banker today, वो बोलेगा कि equity जो है वो is flush with cash. And somebody just took that opportunity, put a $2 billion headline, so it became a viral talking point. Oh my God, RCB has gone to 2 billion. Was it worth that 2 billion? No, nobody's answering. Who said? Did anybody say on record? Adar Poonawalla. I'll give you an instance. Adar Poonawalla of Serum Institute of India. We all know the Poonawalla is one of the richest families in the country, right? If you go to around 2 months ago, Adar Poonawalla had put a tweet out. Go on his Twitter handle and see. He had
Yeah,
put a tweet out and said that I will make a very heavy and what aggressive bid for RCB. You remember that tweet, Chandresh?
yeah.
I will make a very aggressive bid for RCB. We carried it in the Times of India. We carried that report in the Times. Did he bid? Did other Poonawalla submit a bid? He's not submitted a bid. People can say a lot of things, but eventually that's not how it works.
Okay, people have other questions also. Will TOI
Will
remove all
TOI
Virat
remove
Kohli haters from jobs after RCB ownership?
who are like? Why will
We are
anybody
not,
hate
nobody's
Virat
a,
Kohli?
nobody's a hater of anybody. People seem to think that people have got personal
ये
agendas
तो
against
बच्चे
them.
हैं, ये कोई मतलब they might be some कॉलेज से निकला हुआ बच्चा होगा, क्या बोलूं.
ओके, मानिकप्रीत सिंह सिंह सर, अब आरसीबी की इनसाइड रिपोर्ट्स टीओआई क्रिक बस ब्रेक करेंगे, ये अगर विजय टाइगर को पता चला.
I don't know. I don't write anymore. What else can I do? I don't write anymore. If
अच्छा,
that answers the question.
one final question, are there more teams looking to sell, like after seeing what has happened with these two teams, will there be
I
more
can't name them.
owners looking to?
I can't name.
Yeah, yeah. So there are chances.
100%. There's a decent popular franchise. I mean, I don't want to give it away. There's a decently popular franchise that will sell in 2 years or less.
Okay.
There. So tell
And
me, what is the next game? What is the next big thing? Please understand that is franchise को पालना मतलब हाथी को पाल रहे हो आप. Okay. So you have to decide whether your kids are interested in keeping this in kind of taking care of this elephant 10 years down the line. You have to understand what is the future plan you have to have. Or today, do you take that $2 billion and probably $1.5 billion and cash it, and today kind of and invest and build it in another business and whatever. I mean, So I know for a fact that there's another franchise that has plans around. Maybe it won't be averse. Let me put it this way: it will not be averse to the idea of a sale in 2 years or less.
okay, and just to understand, इसमें बीसीसीआई को क्या फायदा हो रहा है, मतलब
much
उनको
percent,
कितना मिल रहा है, जस्ट टू फॉर
5%,
लेमैन पर्सन?
5% of the transaction of the deal.
हाउ
Any
मच?
time, 5%.
हाँ,
Any
5%?
time,
ओ,
any time, at any point, the BCC, at any point, the franchise indulges or takes part in a internal valuations, this thing, or stakeholding, change in stakeholding. It could be an internal change in stakeholding, it could be an outside change, it could be an outright sale, it could be part sale, anything. Whatever is the value of the transaction, BCCI gets 5% of it. So, in the case of RCB and RR, BCCI will get 5% of 1.63 billion, and BCCI will get 5% of 1.78 billion.
ओके,
10,000 crore ऐसे ही बन गए,
बिना कुछ किए।
बिना कुछ।
ओके, काम मतलब दिस इज लाइफ, दिस इज लाइफ फॉर बीसीसीआई।
बट बीसीसीआई डॉन है बाबा। बीसीसीआई इज लाइक डॉन कॉर्लियोन है, मतलब ऐसे थोड़ी ना, लोगों को आइडिया नहीं है बीसीसीआई क्या चीज है। बीसीसीआई मतलब अजगर है।
अजगर जुर्राट है।
लोगों अजगर जुर्राट, लोगों को आइडिया नहीं है बीसीसीआई क्या चीज। वो लोग ना पढ़ पढ़ के, आजकल मैं किसी को भी देखता हूँ ट्विटर पे, बीसीसीआई है, बीसीसीआई वो है, और कोई इवन ओवरसीज जर्नलिस्ट, बीसीसीआई इज लाइक सो सेल्फिश एंड बीसीसीआई दैट। बीसीसीआई सेल्फिश नहीं है बेटा। बीसीसीआई अगर सेल्फिश, लोग खा रहे हैं यार, लोगों की घर चल रही है, पुश्तों से लोगों की घर चल रही है। हर क्रिकेटर कितने भी मैच खेला हो, फर्स्ट क्लास खेला हो, रणजी खेला हो, आज पेंशन ले जाता है। क्रिकेटर नहीं है तो उसकी बीवी को, वाइफ को पेंशन मिलता है, फैमिली को पेंशन मिलता है। वन
और
टाइम
कभी कभी
पेमेंट नहीं किया है।
हस्बैंड के डेथ होने के 5 दिन बाद लेटर आता है कि अब वो चले
हाँ,
गए, अब मेरे नाम पे भेजिए।
या एंड उस एंड उसमें भी अगर कोई बड़ा क्रिकेटर है, सफर कर रहा है, हॉस्पिटल में है, बीसीसीआई इज द फर्स्ट टू कम टू हेल्प। क्रिकेटर्स जो आजकल के क्रिकेटर्स जो फर्स्ट 2,500 मैच होते हैं यार, एक साल के 2,500 फर्स्ट, मतलब प्रोफेशनल मैचेस क्या बोलते हैं, हर मैच में 2 अंपायर लगते हैं, पूरा लगता है, टाइम का खाना पर मैचेस हो रहे हैं। आप सोचो एट एनी गिवन टाइम कितने टीम्स कर रहे हैं, होटल में रह रहे हैं ये सब, और मतलब इनका टीए डीए, और सब टाइम पे होता है, कुछ रुकता नहीं है। हर किसी का पेमेंट का, कोई एक प्लेयर, एक बच्चा भी नहीं बोलेगा कि मेरा पैसा नहीं मिला मेरे को टाइम पे। तो ये इट्स लाइक अ मशीनरी लाइक नो अदर, इट्स लाइक इनकॉम्प्रिहेंसिबल। सोचना भी बेकार, मुझे नहीं लगता आज की तारीख में कोई भी प्राइवेट कंपनी इतनी बड़ी मशीनरी चलाता है। और वो बीसीसीआई कैसे चला लेता है वो भगवान को ही पता है। वो ठीक है, स्टेट एसोसिएशन टेक केयर ऑफ ऑल देयर रिस्पेक्टिव दिस थिंग एंड ऑल, बट having said that, Indian cricket establishment is, there are two things. One is the massive, the giant size appetite of the Indian cricket establishment. That's one. And two is, I say this because this was an answer I had given to one of the top BCCI officials in 2022 when the media rights were going on sale. And I said that, this could touch 50,000 crore and probably go beyond. And somebody had asked me, क्या लगता है आपको कैसा पैसा आएगा? And I said, इंडियन क्रिकेट में, व्हेन इट कम्स टू हिंदी माइथोलॉजी, इंडियन क्रिकेट में लक्ष्मी देवी बैठी है, पैसा आता ही रहेगा, पैसा कहीं नहीं जाएगा। वो आप उस पैसे की मतलब शुद्धि कैसे कर रहे हो, आप उसको यूटिलाइज कैसे कर रहे हो, आप उस पे नैरेटिव कैसा बना रहे हो, वो एक अलग चीज है। बट पैसे की कोई कमी नहीं है इंडियन क्रिकेट, लक्ष्मी देवी बैठी है।
ओके, ऑन दैट नोट, थैंक्स अ लॉट केएसआर फॉर जॉइनिंग अस टुडे एंड एक्सप्लेनिंग पूरी तरह से दोनों डील्स के बारे में। होपफुली देयर विल बी मोर कमिंग in the coming days. The captains had a photo shoot today, and for the first time in 7 years, we have 10 Indian captains at a IPL captains photo shoot. But we know that Ishan Kishan is a stopgap arrangement, and maybe one or two other captains are also stopgap arrangement as the season goes along. We'll come to know about it. Uh, but thanks a lot, Srini, for joining us today. And all of you watching, remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, हाइप का बटन दबाइए, सुपर चैट के जरिए सवाल पूछिए, एंड चैनल को हर तरह से सपोर्ट कीजिए। थैंक यू, गुड बाय, गॉड ब्लेस।
Thanks.